What's up, guys? So I'm going to show you how to make Kenny Fisher's Fudgy Protein Brownies. Now, I've made these before, so I know that they're very good, chocolatey, full of protein. Now, I'm going to leave a link to his video in the description below, so that way you can go and check out his channel, give him some support, where he's also going to give you the exact measurements for this recipe. If you guys are ready, let's go. So here's everything in the bowl. You didn't get to see me add it because I forgot to hit record because I'm kind of an idiot. But we started off with all-purpose flour, chocolate casein protein powder. Now the only real difference between his recipe and mine is I'm using two different cocoa powders here. I'm using black Dutch cocoa powder and regular Dutch cocoa powder. Then I added in the salt, the baking powder, and the 0-calorie sweetener, which is erythritol. Now he's very specific about sifting. So that's what we're going to do. That's why it's important to use a sifter. You get all those little granulars, break them up. Now to start off with our wet ingredients, we're going to do non-fat Greek yogurt. And what I did was I put the yogurt on the scale, zeroed it out. Now I'm just going to keep pouring it in our bowl until we have the desired amount, which will be in Kenny's video, linked in the description below. Like I said, you guys, I'm not going to give you all the stuff right here. I don't want to take all the credit for his recipe. I just want to show you how I do it. Now after this, we're going to have some ricotta cheese. On the money. Next is light butter. Now we're going to go with vanilla extract. I'm going to go the opposite way here. Poke a hole. Now we can just squirt it in. You get very accurate measurements like that. On the money. Now I've got my oven already preheated to 350 degrees, and what I did was took some chocolate chips, put it right on top of the oven. So he says that you want to have melted chocolate chips mixed into this point right here. Mix everything together. See, this chocolate might solidify a little bit going into the cool ingredients, but what it does is it breaks up along the way. So it's going to get evenly dispersed into all of our wet ingredients. So this recipe also calls to add in more chocolate chips. So that way when you get into your brownie, you're going to have these little bits that are going to be all mixed into the batter, but then you're going to have bites of chocolate chip mini morsels. So we're going to add these in right now. Couple for the chef. Now we're going to add the wet into the dry. Now I did this backwards. I was supposed to add the dry into the wet 3 different parts, but obviously I got my bowls mixed up. So we're gonna do our best here. Just gonna go for it. That way you get all the ingredients. Because if you're gonna count all the macros inside of your ingredients, which you should, might as well get them all in. Pretty clean. Here we go. Now in his video, it says you're just going to keep mixing and mixing, and it's going to be like a wet sand consistency. Then once you get to that certain point, we're going to slowly be adding in almond milk, about 20 grams at a time. So this is the consistency you were looking for. Everything's pretty much well incorporated, well mixed in. It's like wet sand. It'll form well if you clump it and press it together. Then it falls apart if you crumble it up. So we're going to just start slowly adding in almond milk. I'm going to go with 40 milliliters to start, or 40 grams, whatever, it's all the same. We'll give this a mix. I go another 40 milliliters, 40 grams of almond milk. The reason you want to add a little bit at a time, and he doesn't really give an exact measurement for the almond milk, is because your casein protein powder might be different from my casein protein powder, which is going to be different from his casein protein powder. So we're just going to keep adding little by little until we get the right consistency. And I'll show you what that is once we get to it. So I think we're at about the consistency that we need to be at. If you can see, it's very mushy, but it will shape, but it does have some give to it. This ended up being about 150 milliliters, 150 grams of almond milk. Now what we're going to do is get a greased pan here. This is a 9x13 glass baking dish. I'm not going to put any parchment paper or anything. I sprayed it with 0-calorie baking cooking spray. So just going to get this in. You can see it all comes out pretty much in one piece. What I'm going to do is try and spread it evenly without using my fingers so we don't get all messy. I'm just going to use the spoon we use for mixing. Just spread it out evenly. Now this thing is nice and thick. This thing is heavy. It is heavy. And in his recipe, he recommends cutting into 8 pieces. I'm going to cut mine into 10. That way I can, if I wanted to meal prep this for 2 weeks, I can have 1 piece a day, freeze the other half. There's no rules to this. But the good thing is, if you follow the directions, you weigh out everything to the gram. When you go and serve this up, you can take the total weight of it, divide it by however many servings you want, then you'll have your macros per serving. So this spreads out pretty good. No need to get our hands messy. You watch his video, he recommends getting your fingers in there, wetting your fingers and getting in there, but I don't think there's any really need to. Just want to make sure it's all pretty much even, edge to edge. And then we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 to 45 minutes. I'm going to check it at about the 35-minute mark with a toothpick. If it comes in, put the toothpick in. If it comes out clean, you know you're good to go. Another good indicator of when to start checking your baked goods is when you start smelling it in the air. You're hanging out in the living room or something, and you start smelling that baked goodness. Oh boy, you better start checking it. A little bit left in here. Very rich, very, very deep chocolate flavor in that batter. We're going to pop it in the oven. We're going to get it. So here it is, all baked, fully cooled. It sunk a little bit, but that's what it does. I cut it up into 10 pieces. Here's how it looks, close up. Very dense. Right here. Pretty dense. Like I said, this whole thing is pretty heavy. Let's give it a taste. If you love brownies, but don't want to have the extra sugar and fat and want extra protein in yours, make this recipe right here, guys. Thanks for watching.
Right there, yeah.
Right there? All right.
Or
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay. How does it look? Can you show me how it looks?
What?
Does it look good? Is it in frame?